Today we are going to speak again on the Sabbath, but definitely more and more, because going into the letters of Shabbat, the meaning of Shabbat we spoke before, but as you will see now, there are much more. And in fact, as I mentioned last time, that in my book, The Mystical Glory of Shabbos and Festivals, has quite a lot of material about this, and also my book, Hidden Light of Shabbos, which really shows the hidden light of Shabbos. That Shabbos really contains very, very, very important spiritual values which the light represents. So let us now start with the simple meaning of Sabbath. Now, the simple meaning of Sabbath, as we know, is rest. But this is only a small part of the full significance of the word. That is known, a book written by Rab Simson Raphael Hirsch. He goes very much into meaning of words through the letters, and very interesting things coming out of it. So it is very interesting about what it says, what Shabbos represents. So in the exposition of the Torah, it says that the word Shabbos indicates the cessation of an activity in progress. So Shabbat is like, it is very important to point out that in Hebrew, the root of words has three letters. Yeah, three letters. The explanation Kabbalistically is that like we have a three part in our body. It means the spiritual one, which is the soul, the brain, spirit. In Hebrew we have so many expressions, nefesh, ruach, neshama, yechida, chaya, but in English you don't so many words for the soul and spirit. So in Hebrew the neshama, as they call it soul, is in the brain. In fact, when we put tefillin, this is again the brain, where we have the neshama. This is the highest part in man. Then you have the part which in Hebrew is called ruach, spirit, let us call it like this. This is in the heart, to do with emotion. The mind is more intellect. Then we have the physical in the liver, the blood, which is called nefesh. So those are the three. And the idea of these three also comes out when we say Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. It means there are three kinds of holiness, sanctity, of the physical, of the emotional, and the intellect. So this is really the idea of the Shabbos. Cessation, even for thought. We are not allowed to think about our work, what to do and how to do our work tomorrow after Sabbath. So Sabbath is really cessation from all these kind of words, as we say, intellectual, emotional, physical. One should see on Shabbos really to cut himself off from the mundane, from the profane, in this three dimension. Now this is indicated in the letter Shav Tav. It is Shav Tav. Now, as we said, in Hebrew, you have three letters. The first letter in the root is like Neshama, the most important. The second one is like the Ruach, the emotional. The third one like the physical. So really the main letters in the Hebrew root are the first two. This Reb Tzadok Gaon says, and you can see it, if you remember, we spoke about Pei Resh, yeah? These two letters are the beginning of many Hebrew words which represent really the idea of Pei Resh, powerful action, activity. When Parok, Paros, Paros, Parosh, yeah? So those are the first two letters, Pei Resh, and the third one represents what? Like Paros is breaking of the righteousness. Then if you take Paros, breaking the Samech is like a full circle, you cut it. So it's the Peresh, you see them, but the third one is only the physical, like what we are doing to this. So, according to the letters, as we mentioned, every letter represents something. The letter Taf, very interesting, is like Ta'ev, lust, interesting, lust, Ta'ava. This is letter Taf represent, physical way, yeah? Every letter represents something. So, when Shabbat is like Shav, come from the word Shavor, like Shavor, Shavor. All these are words of breaking. Shavor, Shavresh, Shavor, Shabbat. So, we have here in the three letters of Shabbat, Shav, like breaking, cutting, cessation of the top of the last, the physical one, right? So, this is basically the idea of Shabbos. On Sabbath, we should cut ourselves from the mundane, from the profane, to concentrate studying, learning Torah, singing, nice song of Shabbos, yeah? So this is really, but Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says, and also he says beautifully, this is also, comes out from the verse in the Torah which says, 6 days thou shalt do all thy work. So it's explained to mean that one should rest as if his work was completed. Yeah? Everything, no worry what will be, no. You should feel before Shabbos that everything is fine, completed, no worries. There's an additional explanation also which I brought here, very interesting, that one should rest from even the thought of work, and that man is obligated on Sabbath not only to rest from labor and creative activity, but also to separate himself from them totally. He must look his work out, remove it completely from his thought. It's very interesting. This is really what one should do, you know, to feel the holiness, the light, hidden light of Shabbos. On Shabbos there is a lot of light. How we see it also in a different composition of the word Shabbat. So we say that, if you remember, we discussed about it, now we see another outlook of it, and this is the combination of Shin, the letter Shin, and Bat. So the letter Shin and Bat, as we mentioned before, and the letter Shin has 3 branches. These 3 branches represent the 3 forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's written Kabbalistically that this, like the spirit of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob come on Shabbos, and they join Bat, daughter of Israel. We find many times the expression dot, Bat, daughter, as a Jewish people. So Shabbat is basically Shin, Bat. The 3 forefathers come to the daughters, join themselves to the daughter of Israel. But what is also interesting, that in the shape of the letters of Shin, the letter Shin combine of 3 letters. The left one is like Zayin, Yud, and Vav. This, according to Absalom Cohen, represents the 3 forefathers, because the letter Zayin is the shape of a weapon, we know. Weapon. It's really exactly what Isaac is. He is a symbol of strength. Yud is a letter of Chokhmah, wisdom. It's to do with Abraham, because it's written about his wisdom. He taught the word about monotheism, about God. A lot of wisdom, which brought him to realize and understand that he is creator. Letter Vav represents stress, harmony, unity, we said, which is exactly what Jacob is. Jacob represents the unity of Abraham and Isaac, because Abraham was like Rabin Chesed, the right, Isaac, strength, and the harmony is Jacob, right? And Jacob really is what Shabbos is written that Nachlat Yaakov. Shabbos is like the portion of Jacob. So this is what Shabbos is. What we see through the combination of the letter Shin and Bat. The three meals also are against this. The first meal of Shabbos is Isaac, then Abraham morning, and then Jacob the third meal. Now, there is interesting reason why Isaac is the first one, even Abraham was before, because to cut ourselves and to do this cessation, which I've seen from 5 years says, you need power, and not easy. And Isaac is a pillar of strength, and he helps us to cut ourselves from the mundane and to go into the spirit of Shabbat. It was not so easy, to change for the mundane, for the profane, into holiness. So this, the help that we get is from Isaac. This is interesting, is the reason that Isaac is the first one, even though Abraham was before. Everything, every reason, so can be concerned. So also, another interesting insight in the word Shabbos, taking the letter Shin from the different way. Because if you take the letters of Shabbos, they are, as we mentioned, Zayin Yud Vav, which in Hebrew is Ziv. Ziv is light, shining. Ziv Achama, the light of the sun. Ziv represents even something higher than simple light. We sing Yedid Nefesh, Zivecha. We ask God to shine upon us. So Ziv is shyness. And this is exactly what we have on Shabbos. The light, the shyness of God shines upon us. I said it cannot be coincidence. In English you have the word Shin, S-H-W-N, and shine. This is very logical, that is also to do with the letter Shin. In Hebrew this is shine, Shin, and also the letter Shin, according to the book of Formation related to Abraham, is the letter with which fire was created. And the shape of the Shin also is like flame of fire. And this is really the source of light, fire. So this why Shin is connected with light. And this is exactly what we have on Shabbos. Shabbos is a day of Shin shining, of daughters of Israel. There are many stories that, great rabbis who really come to Shabbos with very elevated feelings, emotions. They really, one can see on their face that, you see, we have expression, panim chadashot ba'aluka. I mean, there is a law in the wedding, there are Sheva Bachot, 7 days or 7 blessings. Now, normally it is important to bring every day a new face. I mean, somebody was not in the wedding, so increase the happiness, the joy. So according to the law, on Shabbos, you don't need one, because all of them, like Panim Chadashot, are new face. Interesting, because the happiness, the joy is there. So, Shin, light, Ziv, which come to the Jewish people, to the daughter of Israel, on Shabbos. So this is what we see in the letter Shin, the 3 forefathers, and this light which come on Shabbos. And in fact, all the idea of Shabbos is to do with light. But light is everything, to do, light today, in science, light, waves, all kind of things with light. Shabbos is a day of light. This is what he says, the hidden light of Shabbos. This is what we mentioned in our book, which is called Hidden Light of Shabbos. So, how you can see the connection between Shabbos and light. It's a beautiful idea. All of this shows you how rich is the Hebrew language, really. This is what we try to do in these lectures, that we see, because I mentioned that it's written in the future, the whole world will realize the greatness of the Holy Tongue. Yes, Zephaniah said in the chapters 3, Gimel, the verse number 8, I think 9, as a fochalamim safavu, as then I will turn on the whole world, nations, clear language, Safa Berura, clear language, which is the Holy Tongue. Also even Gematria of this word Safa Berura comes Holy Tongue, Lashon HaKodesh. לקרוא כולם בשם השם, that all of them will realize through this language, and they realize what is this language, Hebrew, to serve God, Shechem Echad, to serve God in unity. Yeah? This is, so we try to contribute a little bit to this, that people will see how rich is our language and how much you have behind one letter. You can write a book about one letter, you can write a whole book. So here you have the beautiful example. The letter Shin represents the 3-4 parts in the branches of the letter. Then light, which is a meaning, Shin, fire, come from fire, Shin. And taking the Shabbos as being a day of light, yeah, we know light is expression of happiness and joy, yeah? We are enlightened. We feel very nice when we have this, also light, enlightened. So the numerical value of Shabbat, Shin is 700, with a tav, Shin is 300, but with a tav, 400 to make it 700, and the letter Bet, 2. So what we have is 702, yeah, 702 is the numerical value of Shabbos. So what is 702? So like we have in Hebrew, we mentioned before, you have words, positive, negative, in the same word. Like we brought the example, like oneg, enjoyment, the highest kind of really level of enjoyment. Oneg Shabbos. On Shabbos, we have a mitzvah to be oneg, to have oneg Shabbos, eating and singing, all of them part of oneg Shabbos. So the word oneg are sending word. With the same letters, if you change the order, instead of the ein in the beginning, you put the nun in the beginning, you have nega, which is disease, which is troubles, which is plague. Exactly the opposite. The Book of Formation uses a beautiful expression. There is no highest than oneg, and is no worse than nega. All depends on you, how you behave. If you have the ein in the beginning, if you have the I, the iyun, you think properly, yeah, you can have enjoyment from life. But if the nun represents really a lower level, then the ein represents more the emotion. You know. We spoke a lot about it before. So then when the emotion controls the mind and people do what suits them, yeah, you know, a lot of sicknesses are the result of tension, of depression. Yeah, definitely. I said something very, very interesting. How you can make people happy. Difficult, right? So in Hebrew, happiness is osher. Aleph, Shin, Resh. Aleph, Shin, Resh, you know. The letter Aleph represents studying, learning. This is really kind of spiritual osher and real osher, happiness. With Ayin is osher money. Right? This is definitely already a lower level. Osher is money. This is Ashir Sameach Bereko. A real wealthy person is somebody who is happy with what he has. Yeah, doesn't look for more. So Osher, Aleph, Shin, Resh, is happiness. The same letters. If you put the Resh in the beginning, you have Rosh. So what's the head to do with joy and happiness? Simple. Depends on your mind. If you understand things properly, and you know everything is good for you, even it look like bad, if a man have to go through operation, he's sick. No, definitely not so nice, not so convenient, but he knows that by this he will be able afterwards to carry on, live more, and enjoy life. So he knows. So this knowledge itself help him to be happy. Happy with what God is doing with you. So if you understand things properly and you head properly, then you have Osher. So this is why the letter Osher are like Rosh. By the way, it is so interesting that the letters in alphabet after Rosh is Shabbos. Like after Reish, you have the Shin. after Aleph, you have the Bet, and after the Shin, you have the Taf. That we sing in the Chadodi, Mirosh Mikedem Lesora. But the Shabbos come from the head. What is the head? I mean, exactly what we said, that Shabbos is the time that your intellect should run, your mind. You have to cut yourself for the physical, for the mundane. So it should be really spiritual. It should have to do with the neshama, with the soul. And this really what brings you happiness and joy. This one on Shabbos, we have Onek Shabbos, we enjoy Shabbos, yeah, singing, happy. So, if you want to be really happy, you have to use your head, your intellect, and to understand. You have to understand through the Torah, you understand the ways of God, yeah, you understand what your purpose in the creation. So then, this is amazing to see the letter Rosh and Rosh shall come together, and the letter after Rosh are Shabbos, Reish, Shin, Aleph, Bet, Shin, Taf, Shabbos. Why? Because Shabbos is really the day which can make you happy, and the day that you should do your head properly, and then really you will have real enjoyment, amazing teaching through the letters. You see, some psychologists told me that sometimes so much psychology you can find in the Hebrew word, even something in one letter. So this is the greatness of the Holy Tongue. Really. We should realize it, and we hope that the world will realize. Really, therefore, I advise to read my books in English. I have about 25, I think, books in English, and you can get it Glazerson.com, GlazersonBooks.com, and then you will see how rich is the Hebrew language. In fact, I mentioned that there are quite few universities in the state who accept that Hebrew was a source of languages. This is my book, Hebrew Source of Language. I think it's a very, very important book. I will show you just now this book, because this book, I can say that had a great impact on people who study in university. And they were studying in yeshiva. They came to learn for a while in yeshiva in Israel. So I showed them that what they learned was right, but only the opposite. Not that Hebrew comes from the Indo-European and so on, but the opposite. And then I showed them so many English words in Hebrew that only in Hebrew you understand the meaning. So this is a book I recommend very much these people who want to know really what is behind every letter to get my book, Hebrew Source of Languages. It is not only English, it is really many other languages. And as I told you the story that I wrote a book about it a while ago, clearly showing similarities of the words, but then I met in the state really Isaac Moses' son, and he told me that he's going to do the whole research about it to bring out a book, which is really, it came out the word with many, many English words and other words connected to Hebrew, many thousands of them. He asked me to write, that should write something on the back, my blessings. I bless him, yeah, definitely is an important book to show to the world. So in the first edition, if you have it, you can see still my blessing to him. So, and it got impact when one of the specialists in languages in universities, what his name, not Jewish, when he saw it and went to it, you have to revise what we taught, right? So let us hope that it will be also realized through my books, Hebrew Source of Language, because really they show so clearly how English words which are similar to Hebrew, only in Hebrew it has its real meaning. We already got some example, like we had God and good, and remember. So, coming back to the word Sabbath, 702. What is 702? So 702, by the way, is written by Sasra Zibrot that it is the multiplication of 27 letters in the Hebrew. We have 22 ordinary, and we have 5 final. We spoke about them, final 5 words which are Gvurot, It's worthwhile really to follow all my lectures, that you will have the full picture on the languages. So, comes out that Shabbat 702 and the same numbers, like in Hebrew, we saw in letters that if you take the same letters, different order, you have idea behind. The same thing in numbers is unbelievable. So if you take the 702, which is, we said, by the way, it is 27 letters in the alphabet, multiplying in 26. 26 is the name of God, if you remember. We said Yud Ke Vav Ke, 10, 5, 15, 6, 5, 26. In English also, God, yeah, if you take the letters, the 7th, the 15th, the 4th, you come also to 26. God is good, all languages, but English, Hebrew is this good. But also we said that in Hebrew, 26 is a combination of love and unity. Echad, one, and the word Ahava, love. This is what we say in Shema Yisrael. We say our Shema Yisrael. We said Hashem Echad, one, and then V'ahavta, love, unity. This is what God is. So this is, now in English, I don't know what is God, good, but interesting, the phenomena. So when you take the 702, as we said, this also is safe, because every letter of the alphabet represents divinity. You see, this is like 27, all the 27 letters multiplying in 26 come to 702, because Shabbat is really completion of all this, you know, we have in divinity, all these aspects. So amazing. Then 702, if you read it backward, it's 207. What is 207 in Hebrew? Light. Light, which is, Aleph is 1, Vav is 6, and Resh 200. So you have together the light, clear connection between light and Shabbos, hidden light of Shabbos. Shabbos is a time, a day of light. So 207 and 702. So this idea, means seeing the same letters, different combination, represents similar idea. Menucha v'simcha, all HaYehudim. Beautiful song that we sing on the eve of Shabbos, Menucha v'simcha, rest, joy, all HaYehudim is light to the Jews. Yeah, so clearly Shabbos is a time of light, and you see it to the letter 207, 702. Perhaps I'll give you another interesting example. Also, the same number is different composition. This is the Hebrew word, Brit. You know, Brit. Shabbos is really Brit. Covenant between the Torah is Brit. Yeah, Brit Milah also. So Brit, Bet is 2, Resh 200, Yud 10, Tav 400, 612. By the way, it is interesting. It is only one before 613 commandments. The idea is that the basis of the Torah, of the 600 commandments, is Brit, covenant. So, here is an interesting example of 612. If you read it backward, it's 216, which is the Hebrew word Ira, fear. Yeah, fear of God. Very important, Irat Shamayim. So, Ira, Yud is 10, Resh is 200, Aleph is 1, 5 is 6, 2, 16. So 600, so it goes together. Covenant, Shabbat, Brit Shabbat, everything definitely has to do with fear of God, you know. It is so interesting. It's one of the combinations of Genesis, Bereshit. There are 70 different combinations of the letters Bereshit. There are 6 letters. From 6 letters you can make really 720 combinations. Yeah? 1 multiply 2, multiply 3, multiply 4, 5, 6, 7, 20. And in fact there is a book which brings all these 720 combinations of Shabbat. Not all of them have a simple meaning that you can understand. There are hidden things behind, lots of secrets. But the famous ones, there are 70 combinations the Zohar speaks about, and one of them is Yereh Shabbat, Bereshit. Bereshit, Yereh, Yud Resh Aleph, and Shabbat. The same letters. Fear of Shabbos, because Shabbos is a time that you have to be afraid of God, because, you know, there are so many commandments to keep. I want to be so careful on Shabbos in his behavior. Yeah, what to do. It is unfortunate that people don't understand the idea of doing work on Shabbos, a prohibition. It's not because it's hard, you know. Not easy hard. If you take a needle outside the border, you know, really committing very severe sin. The idea is of creation. This is what is forbidden on Shabbat, to create new things. Like God stops creating new things on Shabbos, you should not create things. So changing the position of things from, as we said, outside the tchum, outside the border, is also new thing. You're creating a new situation. Even if it is the needle, it does not very much. It's not so difficult to carry needle. But this is unfortunate. People don't understand, because they said, what, electricity? You push only a button. What is to push a button? So even today, well, you can speak without, but this is creating something new. Yeah, important knowledge people should know, because unfortunately people don't understand what is the idea of Shabbos. Yeah, it's not work, this is creating new things. You should cease from creation thing, and this is the most important thing. So Shabbos and light goes together. A fear of God. Yeah, Shabbos you have to really to feel also fear of God, and we have to feel love of God, joy. But don't forget that we have to be afraid not to transgress, not to do wrong things. On Shabbos, 39 very, very severe labors that one should not do. So this is, as we said, looking on the Shabbos 702, 207, but there is also something very interesting about many words, really, which is called Gimatya Ktana. Now, Gimatya Ktana is really a small numerical value. Now, what is a small numerical value? When you take the singles, it means Shabbat is really 700, 2 is single, 400. But we take only the single, the source of the numbers, something like this. So 400 is 4. 300 is 3. And bet is 2. So together we have 9. Yeah, 9. What is 9? 9 represents eternity, purity. You can see in the shape of the letter 9, the round is up, the circle is up. Not like the 6 that you have the circle down, because 6 days, secular, this is down, this earth, the world of the physical. But Shabbat, truth also have 9, by the way, yeah? Emet, Aleph is 1, Mem is 4, and Taf is 4. 4 for 1 come to 9. Also 4 for 1 is the numerical value of truth, because truth is also eternity. If one really don't say the truth, it doesn't last for a long time. That all these ideologies, Zionism, and so all these nice things, you can see now that you don't have such a continuation, because something which is not based on truth, pure truth, the truth of the Torah, doesn't last for a long time, because it cannot. So, Emet, therefore, truth is 9. Here's the idea of the shape of numbers. One should know it comes from Pythagoras. And he wrote a lot of books on numbers. And in fact, Pythagoras got his knowledge from the prophet Yechezkel. Yeah, it's here, right? So very likely that he got some knowledge about this also, because this amazing combination of these rounds. In the number 8, you can see 2 rounds. The 2. The bottom one represents this physical world, the other one the physical, and this really was the time of Messiah. Time of Messiah is not the end. Time of Messiah is only a stage to the world to come. Yeah? And therefore it is the number 8 is like showing this connection between the physical and the spiritual, because this word of Messiah will not be changed in physical world. Still will carry on, the world will carry on, but they will realize there is a God, and peace and quiet will be, but still will be physical, connecting to the spiritual. So this is number 8. 9 is already the highest, when you cut ourselves completely for the physical. This is really the world to come. So it's amazing to see this, 6, 8, 9. So Shabbos come to 9, has to do with the world to come, eternity, like truth, truth. Also come to 9, and Brit, covenant. Covenant, Shabbat is called covenant. Brit also, Bet is 2, Resh is 200, and Yud, 1, Tav 4, again, 9, called Brit Olam. Again, Shabbat, because something will last forever, for a long time. This is amazing, 9. And the idea of the number 9 represented eternity's idea, famous idea, that all multiplication of 9 come to 9, like 2, 9, 18, 3, 9, 27, 2, 7, 9, 4, 9, all because this is truth, is eternal, I said something very interesting, that you take the Hebrew letters, emet, it's amazing to see how even the position of letters and are really have an important message behind. Emet, the Aleph is the first letter of the alphabet. Mem is the middle one, also the middle one, Mem, Emtsai. And then comes the Tav, which is the future, Ta'aseh, Ta'asu, will do. This is a letter that we add to make something future, future tense. To do with stuff, Ta'aseh, Ta'asu, do. So basically the word Emet is past, present, future. This is truth. Many people, unfortunately, take reform and so on, they cut themselves from the past, said, no, we don't need all these laws, the Torah of the past, we have to take away the Aleph. And it is interesting, in Hebrew, Met is dead. Mavet, death, Met. So if you take the letter Aleph from the Hebrew Emet, you have a Met. Because as we said, something with no past is also down to a future. Israel wanted to build a country, cut themselves from the past, unfortunately, They said, no, we are going on a new world, even I think there was a song, we said, no, you see what is happening to Israel now, cutting the same from the Torah, cutting them from the roots, from the forefathers, from the beautiful past. And this is why Israel are considered conquerors, because they don't know, they don't believe in their past, really. The Philistines were before, they are Canaanites, the land of Canaan, but because they don't know Torah, and the Torah is written really, that's the land of Canaanite, but it's written that I give you the land of Canaanite, it is the land of Canaanite. What Abu Mazen said, that is a Canaanite. He said, we are Palestinians, we are Canaanites, the land belongs to us, If you don't believe in the Torah, which is written clearly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I give you the land of Canaan, this is true. But God, when He wants, He gives, when He wants, He takes away. It depends on our behavior. So this is really the terrible situation of Israel today for those who did not want to believe in the Torah, cut themselves from the Aleph. So they are making mess of themselves, we say mess in Ashkenazi, but this is the truth. What can we do? Emet has to have these 3 pillars, past, present, and future. If you don't have the past, you don't have the future. And this is so important for us to know, for Jews to know for where they are coming, to know their history, to know there is a God. And this is really the truth. And this truth to do with Shabbat. On Sabbath, we have to strengthen our belief in God, in the truth, all the ideas of Shabbat. Remember that God creating heaven and earth. Remembering that God took us from Egypt. Also very, very important to know all these things of Shabbat. It's in the Kiddush. So all together, as we said, now beautifully, Shabbat to do with line, with light, and beautiful day. So I want to wish you really Shabbat Shalom and really enjoying the Shabbos properly. Definitely going in the ways of the Torah.